It's 5 plus Jody, because Jody's technically not a voting
so
member.
You have 3 if Jeremy's here, so there you go.
Yes.
Your recording is live, sir.
All right, we are gonna get started, and I'm gonna try and find the agenda here quickly. All right, call to order, approve prior meeting, minutes. I'm gonna wait on that one. Resort tax budget update from mayor. That's where we are. Go.
All right, I sent all the budget stuff to Jeremy in the background since he is not here and does not have a hand copy. And Jeremy, what we are referring to is, actually it's printed as page 9 through 12. When I was printing PDFs, it was page 10, but maybe there's a cover or something in there. But this is the proposed final, can I say that, those 2 words together, of the resort tax. It was basically modified to match what this committee put together. We noted that we had not jumped the parks from 85 to 100, which was, you guys did in the last discussion when they were talking about extra people and whatnot. The only
So
change,
you did not do that, or you did?
it had not been done, it is now being corrected.
Okay, all right,
So that was an error on our side, but we just caught it as we were going over it in council.
okay,
And it seems like there was one other error that we had that didn't match. So the only thing that's on here that has not previously been discussed by this group was we added 50,000 to streets, and to do that, we decreased the available cash on hand 50,000, which we had was pretty healthy in there, area because the mayor likes a lot of extra cash on hand.
okay,
So that was the only difference that we added to this budget from what this group had put forward. The specific reasoning that I had put that in there was in following up with Public Works Director Mike Naples, conversation we had last year as well, but there was a SID put in place by a third of town up on the West Bench to pay for some major street revisions up there, and one of the commitments the town made at that point in time, and I was on council, I wasn't mayor at that point in time, but one of the commitments the city made is that we would at least pay to maintain it and keep it from falling into disrepair until, we would continue to maintain it at least until it was paid off, and to date, we haven't done anything, and it's starting to break up and cause problems. So we added 50,000 to that budget. We do not have a specific bid on that, but Mike had another street project that he wanted to go with. So anyway, that was an addition that council said they were good with, but at the same time, I wanted to bring it back to this committee and at least give you guys a chance to weigh in on it.
okay. Any thoughts from Joy or Jeremy?
It's taken from the cash we had on hand, right?
Mhm.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
One thing I will add, go ahead.
Is it reasonable?
The one thing I will add that our auditors told us, we were talking about the vest and panels and stuff, and they advised us that the capital as defined by our purchasing policy in the state and the capital on the resort tax were not one and the same. And so there were some things that were in there that we went back and said, oh, I don't think we can include these, and they said, yes, you can.
Okay, so what's the definition of capital?
It was not the $5,000 was the
Can
point
you,
of discussion.
can you, send us out a copy of the purchasing policy and how it defines capital?
Yeah, so it's not our purchasing policy that applies here. It's the resort tax, is what they were saying.
Oh, is it in, do you have our new resort tax thing? Do we decide capital purchases? I got it here somewhere, so I can look and see.
Okay. And I will do a follow, because I was not part of that conversation, it was relayed on to me, but I will follow up and definition of
This says,
capital.
to be clear, since we said it was
Which-
5,000,
Which this? This is
the resort tax
the
ordinance
reserve tax ordinance.
says property or equipment with a life expectancy of 5 years or more and cost in excess of $5,000. And includes the salary or portion of an employee's salary when he or she is performing labor or service that will constitute an improvement benefit to city property.
And the part that they had talked about was, and again, my recollection of this meeting is, like, if it was 5 vests, it was $5,000, that didn't count, because it was 5 individual items, and that was the thing that they said, no, it can't.
Okay, so then the only thing that we would know is that they have a life expectancy in excess of 5 years. So they would just have to say that vests last 10 years.
Yeah,
Or something, what is the life expectancy of a vest? And that's the only thing that they would have to say, because it has to show that it's gonna last more than 5 years.
okay. And
Which is interesting, because, because it says $5,000 and a life expectancy of more than 5 years. So we probably have to look at vehicles and make sure that they are, the life expectancy on them is more than 5 years.
But is,
I assume so, but
but is that in
That's an
motor
ordinance.
vehicles, or is that just our ordinance?
that's an ordinance.
Yeah, so we should,
I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna argue with you that a car lasts more than 5 years, even if they only keep it for 2.5 or whatever,
but
but,
I wonder if it would be appropriate for us to revisit what we define it as in the ordinance too. I like to say what's there, so like, I give you an example. Dispatch called today and it says it's not 10,000, it's 12,005, and it's like, well, we don't need to change it, we'll just, I said, no. If we know that's what it is, change it.
yeah,
Should be
I
as
wouldn't
accurate
be
guess as
eager to change this, just because this has been what we've talked about since the beginning, and so I think lowering the definition of capital to make things more applicable is not the greatest thing to want to do.
Okay.
That's
Or
not
you
good.
could say $5,000, or will last longer than 5 years. Or,
Well, I think the thing is then that makes it operational.
Okay.
Just the fact that it's more than $5,000 doesn't, then it's not capital.
Okay.
It has to have a life expectancy in order to be a capital.
Because an oil change that costs you $6,000 is not capital.
I'm in the wrong business. Just $6,000. So
Okay.
where was that definition of capital?
This is in the ordinance.
Okay.
And I would argue if we plan on swapping out a car every 3 years, even though a vehicle will last more than 5, it smells to me.
Kind of sounds operational?
No, well, I don't think it's operational, but I think it's,
I think with a vehicle, no one's gonna,
No,
no one's gonna argue that a vehicle's not a capital improvement.
That's,
I don't think you're gonna have one with that. I don't think.
that's an asset, no
Yeah.
matter how you look at it.
Yeah, I think no one's gonna bug you on that one. I don't think they swap their vehicles every 2 years. They buy 2 new every 2 years, but they have,
But there's, yeah, that's a fleet
there's
of
the leap,
several.
it's a leapfrog, yeah. Because I think they have 6 or 7. So,
There actually is a definition of capital improvement in MCA that we might want to just revisit at some point. It's seven.
what's the definition, are you looking at it, Jeremy?
You're somewhat, distorted on your mic, Jeremy, if there's anything you can do to improve it.
Okay, hold on.
Overmodulation, that was the word I was looking for.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can improve it, but it's 7/6/1601, if that matters. But basically, it's improvements, land and equipment with a useful life of 10 years or more. Does not include consumable supplies. It's got some other sub-definitions, like what development means. Yeah, kind of gets into the weeds after that, but seems like the main overarching thing is 10 years. It doesn't really specify an amount, really. Anyway.
Is
that's all
that
I
in,
can say.
under resort, is that, Jeremy, is that in resort tax, or is that just in general for the state of Montana?
It's just in general, but it's in the definitions of, in this case, funding of capital improvement projects. So that's,
Okay. Yeah.
Title 7, Part 16, I don't know, whatever.
But we've never gotten in trouble with the auditors the way that.
Yeah, I think we're probably okay with this, the way it's.
And if the auditors start cracking down on us,
I'm
then
worried about
we'll-
getting in trouble with the voters, is what I'm.
Yeah, I think that's what I said. I think we have, that's where I think some of the stuff that we were saying is maybe you're starting to get into operational things. That's the,
Yeah,
that's,
is panels an oil change?
yes, that's exactly correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that,
But a
We don't wanna
car is,
stretch the
I don't
definition.
think there's a shop heater is a long-term capital improvement. I don't think anyone's gonna claim anything on that.
right,
But, rifle replacements, vest panels,
Or computers or body cams, sort of a thing. It was
Yeah.
like, that's
Well-
more than one. They weren't individually 5,000, is where the source of the comment from the auditors came from.
yeah, so
Oh.
the question is if you're buying lots of little things
right.
as a whole, I mean, I think if it was, yeah, I don't know, I think you can argue it either way. I think you start to, if you buy $5,000 worth of Dixie cups, they're
Yeah.
still Dixie cups.
Yep, no, I'm with you. And to your point, if I look at the auditors already given their opinion, but if I go to the voters, I think they're gonna say body cameras and computers qualify as capital, that's equipment.
I think if you can justify it, I think if you and the council feel like you can justify it, then I think I'm okay with it. I don't know, do you enjoy your thoughts?
I just don't, I think about things like cameras, like especially in this day and age with technology changing so fast. Again, do we really want to get in the practice of we're funding things every year just because they're out of date, just like your phone goes, I feel like it's something that is operational. There's no value to it. It's not gonna appreciate.
Can you sell it? After you buy it, can you sell it?
Yeah, you can't sell it after you buy it, and it's not gonna appreciate the value of what it's being added to. Like adding a heater to a building is gonna appreciate the value of the building.
Well, but a car's, now you're just saying it's an appreciating or depreciating the asset.
But I'm also kind of working on that $5,000 definition, and again, to me, cameras feel like they're a throwaway item.
And I don't think these cameras are, and I don't think they're in it, and I'm assuming that's more than one camera.
I would say, I think you'd want to ensure that they have a useful life of 5 years or more. I think that really becomes, and I would say, when we buy a radio, the radios we're using cost $2,500 a piece, and we keep them for 10 years. Does that make them a capital improvement? Personally, I would not. If I had to do an entire radio replacement system, yes, maybe I would say that's a capital, but not because I have to buy 3 radios. Does that make sense? If I'm buying 3 radios, we've got some 80 radios in the fire department,
Yeah,
something
you're
like
buying
that.
5 or 10.
If I'm buying 5 every year, that's operational. If I have to go and buy 80 as a wholesale replacement, and the plan is that they're gonna last 10 years, I would call that a capital investment. So I think it depends on some of it, the same item could be considered differently if it's approached differently.
Yeah, and in that situation, I would still call it capital, and I would say it would be smarter to get on a regular replacement rather than taking a big hit every 10 years. I'd say, why don't you plan your budget better?
It's actually not in that world, because what you have is then you have consistency, everything operates the same, you don't have 6 different versions of something, everybody has the exact same thing, and then it times out, and then you replace the entire system.
So, just to clarify, did the auditor call us out on this?
No, the auditor, Lonnie had gone and talked to the auditor, I was not present, and the auditor said, if you're buying, if that 5,000 is more than one item, it still qualifies, it is not a disqualifier.
Okay.
So I think you just have to use the red face test. You have to be able to say, yeah, this is,
When
I would agree with
when they
Joy
run
that
article
it's
on the front page
cameras-
of the paper, I'm very comfortable.
cameras start to sound to me like operational expenses. They're expected, you use them, but. Jeremy, do you have anything you want to add to that conversation?
Yeah, if I were to categorize it, I'd say that's part of the uniform, which is not a capital improvement. That's a expendable, consumable item. But that's just my opinion. If, like you said, if you can make a rational argument that that's somehow a capital improvement, even though it's definitely going to be replaced in 5 years. And once you start having a replacement schedule, like we don't have replacement schedule, I don't know. I could be convinced. It seems gray to me.
I think the version is we show the auditors what our language is and have them specifically comment on that. So. That was all I had.
Okay,
So I said the change was that 50,000 for streets. And it was just the latest, I'm going through, what did I forget, what have we not done, and you missed it, but I did talk about the three things that we got council's input on, and that was the one they said yes, and the other two they said no.
Okay, but I did see that you put the parks plan to come out of the 100,000.
This group had marched to 100, we only had it at 85.
No,
That
I know,
was-
but there's also a note there to do the parks plan out of that 100, and
Oh,
council.
yeah, so, and I made that comment that,
Okay.
that if they wanted to do the parks plan, it needed to come out of that.
Okay,
100.
perfect, okay. Yeah, that's-
That they weren't gonna get extra to do it, so that's,
Okay.
the parks can now decide if they wanna
wanna do that,
prioritize
okay.
that or not prioritize.
Or if they want to write it themselves.
we do have some money in the tourism grant that can be used for some parks planning.
We have a parks plan, but it's, how old is it, 10 years old, over 10 years old? Or like a parks
And
improvement
we
plan?
have yeah, let's not turn this into that conversation, we'll have some of that tomorrow morning, but
What's tomorrow morning?
the grant meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any other questions there? We're gonna move on to the survey. They're messing with as I do this. All right,
Oh, you have the ordinance there that Jody was.
oh,
speaking to.
the ordinance first. All right, let's do the ordinance first, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I just took this to admin and finance, and we did have Danae, take a look at it too, and we just had a couple of things we wanted to clarify, and a couple of tweaks, I guess. First of all, on page 2, under resort tax imposed, what we've been doing, it looks like, we're saying, who has to pay, what sectors of business have to pay resort tax or may be subject to resort tax, under 2-4-3, where it says resort tax imposed. And then under 2-4-4, luxuries tax, we've been listing what is taxed. And Danae pointed out that we have in here marijuana dispensaries under 2-4-3, but we don't have anything listed under what's taxed. And so I would say that she thinks we need to add something like, everything sold, at a dispensary, and then, of course, exempt from tax
I think it
will
says
be-
that, tax imposed pursuing license, there is an imposed resort tax on the retail of all goods and services sold, except for goods sold and serviced by the following establishments.
Okay,
So, everything sold at a marijuana dispensary is taxed,
okay.
everything. Then it
Even if
says,
it's a medical
each
card?
business organization
No,
that sells
that's
items
exempt.
subject shall tax on the retail value to all luxuries that should be taxed, luxuries include. So the thing is, if you sell any of these other things,
Okay,
these are not, we don't have to list everything that's sold at a tavern or a bar, because everything that's sold at a tavern or a bar, but if you also sell alcohol, even not at a tavern or bar, it's taxed.
okay, so even though we say golf courses, and then we list golf course, car rentals, green fees, membership, and merchandise sales over here,
You could pick it up either place.
okay.
It does not have to be listed in both places.
Okay, that was,
To me, the alcohol's a better example, because you don't have to be a bar and you could sell alcohol.
That's correct.
So
Right.
that's a really good pickup.
So, that doesn't mean you can't list it.
okay.
You know, it's perfectly acceptable to add
Okay.
marijuana in there, so
And
let's
then,
just do that.
Do you have a copy of what, electronic or otherwise, just so we could give to the people that are here, so they're looking at it, or are you just gonna go with the verbal?
I just have,
Okay. It's like hand scribbled notes?
yeah,
Okay.
if you can read them, they're,
I have it on my computer.
Okay, yeah, if you, I mean, I could email out the.
Here, I can do this, I can share it.
Okay.
I can share it.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great, thanks, Tom. And then the other thing on, under 2-4-3, resort tax imposed, under tours, guides, outfitters, and taxidermists, she was hoping that we could add something, specify that if a tour or guide, begins, in the city limits, even if it's e-commerce, that it's taxed.
Yeah, we did
somewhere.
have that example come up.
Yeah, because they're like, they buy it online, I'm not, I'm not here, and they can be like in Colorado, for example.
But they were meeting at
In
the
Red-
sidewalk in front of the Pollard or Pride Park to go.
Yeah, so she was just hoping, if you guys are okay, I mean, we can just add that in there somehow.
Sure.
Okay,
We had that conversation in this group and
Right.
determined, yes, it should be taxed, so we should make
but
sure. language-
she's like, I have what we told them, but she's like, if I'm not here down the road, it'd just be nice to have it clarified in the ordinance, is what she was saying, so. And then, under, 2-4-4, luxury.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Luxury taxes, when we changed something here, where we said, okay, goods and services sold by any business that does not operate for more than 90 days, so we're talking about temporary or transient vendors. But it looks like,
What
all
section are you in? I'm sorry.
it's under, on page 3, but it's in 2-4-4 luxury tax. And it's like the fourth one down, where it talks about temporary vendors, where all of their goods and services are taxed. But we had exempted unprepared food items, but that makes it's kind of ambiguous, like, are we taxing everything they're selling, or are we,
Taxing
okay.
everything they're selling unless it's listed as exempted.
okay, well, right now, we were taxing everything unless it was unprepared food items. So even if it wasn't, even if it was exempted somewhere down here because they're a temporary vendor, the only thing we were exempting before,
Okay, wait,
Was
so say that
unprepared.
again, so you're saying,
we used to tax everything they sold. Like, absolutely, it didn't matter if it was exempt or not, we were taxing everything that,
because it's a luxury, if they're a temporary vendor, they're selling luxuries.
now, and then, because we did exempt from the tax, we had in there somewhere to exempt unprepared food items, so that the farmer's market wasn't being taxed for selling fresh vegetables, the pizza lady wasn't being taxed for selling peaches, those type of things, or the people who sell the bags of onions, that type of stuff.
So I'm confused, I'm confused with what you're saying.
What
Okay.
is the proposed change?
Yeah,
Okay. Just that we add in there, unless it's unprepared food items
isn't,
or something
well,
like that.
no, because unprepared food items are exempt from the
Listed
tax.
in the exemption.
They are, but right now, anything, whether it's exempt or not, on a temporary vendor is taxed.
Where does it say that?
Goods and services sold by any business so these are luxury items that are taxed. Any goods and services sold by any business that does not operate for more than 30 days.
Yeah,
So it's anything they sell.
But exempt from the tax are items sold for resale, unprepared food items,
Okay,
school and school events, fundraising for nonprofit, those are exempt from that tax.
okay,
If we list it there, we'd have to list it under every single one.
Everything, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you are not trying to make that included in, that was, admin and finance just wanted to know.
No,
Okay.
they're exempt, if something's exempt from the tax, it's exempt from the tax.
Well, not
No matter
necessarily.
who's
Yeah.
selling it?
If it's exempt from tax, if something is listed exempt from tax, it's exempt from tax. You can't come back and say,
Temporary has to pay it.
yeah, so if a golf course is selling unprepared food items, that's an unprepared food item. It's
Okay.
exempt from the tax.
Okay, so they just want a clarification on that because it was, maybe we were confusing ourselves.
I think you were confusing
Okay.
yourselves. If it's
Okay.
exempt from the
Okay.
tax, it's exempt from the tax.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
So
all
go back
food,
and read
all,
it.
if you have a temporary vendor and they show up with used secondhand items, it's exempt from the tax.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. All used or secondhand items are exempt from the tax.
No,
So to me, if you go to that sentence where you said anybody less than 30 days, comma, unless it is listed as an
You
exempt
do
item.
not,
You'd have to do that with every single
you
item.
have to do that with every single item. You do not, if it's exempt from tax, it's exempt from the tax.
the way we had it before, it didn't matter if it was exempt or not. If you were a temporary vendor, everything you sold was taxed.
Then you would have to say that specifically.
Okay,
You have to say specifically there are no exemptions from this. But
Okay.
if something's exempt from the tax, it's exempt from the tax. So you have a temporary vendor, if they're, selling marijuana prescribed by a physician, it's exempt from the tax.
okay,
Not that they
Okay.
can do that, because they can't, but.
But if it's a temporary vendor selling secondhand clothes,
It's
should they be exempt from the
Yes,
tax?
they're exempt, it's
Okay.
secondhand clothes.
okay,
Yeah,
So,
I mean, any secondhand item is exempt,
okay.
no matter who's selling it.
So when
Okay.
we said 30 days, what's the purpose of, go back and read the sentence on the 30 days, why is that even in there?
Because.
It's all other items, so if they
all
sell,
items, Yeah.
let's say they're selling,
Well, again,
Shoes.
yeah.
But we don't say, this includes bars, this includes restaurants, this includes
No,
beef jerky
No,
stores,
it's,
this
it's
includes.
because they have temporary vendors coming in for like the Beartooth Rally,
Okay,
and they're selling biker gear. The typical person in Red Lodge is not going to buy biker gear, it's the people who are attending the rally, so they're tourists. And like
it's a luxury
Danae
item,
said,
because we got by
yeah,
without it
yeah.
yesterday.
Well, Danae is basically saying, you know, I understand getting the resort tax back to it being more of things that tourists would buy. You know, whereas we
I don't
have,
think we're,
well, no, she's just saying, you know, that we would want to tax temporary vendors that come in and are selling clothing and shoes, regardless of if they have
Unless
patches
they're
or not.
secondhand, or they're exempt on the
Oh,
exempt.
only if they're on the exempt from tax list.
exactly, so
But not under, like, under the luxuries where it says that clothing, new clothing is exempt unless it has
Ah,
pictures on it.
Because, well,
Screen
No.
but we do
printing,
branded T-shirts, it doesn't matter if it says Red Lodge is great or Hardee's are great, that's branded.
right, but when
we
you buy
do
a pair of,
not, let's come back.
Okay.
I think what you're doing is you are, reading into what's said here, not reading what's said here.
well, that's the
There
way
is no
we're
place
taxing
in
it
this
now.
that it says new clothing is, let's come back for a
Okay.
second.
Okay,
Let's say,
Can you share yours so we can see
yeah,
what we're doing?
but let's say, just hold a second, let's say a golf course decides to sell golf clothing. Is that taxed? Yes,
No.
it is. Why? All items sold at the following establishments are taxed. Golf courses,
Okay,
right? So you have to read what the words say, not how you're
And we
thinking.
don't
There,
exempt clothing.
there is
that way.
no place
Right.
in this
right,
that says new clothing is exempt. New clothing is just not on the list of taxed items. Okay?
But we don't include everything because we
Right.
didn't think of kazoos.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, it's that
Okay.
it's either the things that are sold by these businesses,
merchandise sales would be what it would be under that.
yes, if a business that is listed, I mean, and we could change this, but right now, everything that is sold at a restaurant is taxed,
Okay,
unless
It's on the exempt list.
it is items sold for resale, unprepared food items.
okay.
So, you know, we can do it differently, but it's not, you have to read what it says, not, you're kind of taking in what you think it should be as opposed to
Well,
actually what it says.
Actually, what I'm doing is what we've been doing, like
Well,
how
then-
we've been
but-
taxing it
But
right now.
then we'd have to rewrite this. It's,
So,
because, again, reading it, there's no place in this that says cars are exempt from the tax, or, that, candlesticks are exempt from the
But they're not
tax.
listed
They're
either,
not listed,
so they're not taxed.
so they're not taxed.
Okay,
And it does
Yeah.
not say everything is taxed at a mercantile store, or everything is taxed at a grocery store.
it just says it here.
That's
So do
correct.
we need, though, to add, I mean, so then you're saying that temporary vendors, if you wanted to do that, everything is taxed at a temporary vendor, you'd have to put that over in the 2-4-3.
The temporary vendor should be in a 2-4-3, that's correct.
Okay,
Yep,
so we would need to add them, because right now, everything that they sell is taxed unless what they're selling is exempt, which would be, that would be the better way to do that.
that's correct. So they
Okay.
should be,
So, That's
Hotels, motels, restaurants, and then you're gonna have to define temporary vendor.
which is
30 days.
when we have
I-
that, 30
It's just-
days,
You're gonna have, it,
yeah. Because any business that does not operate for more than 90 days within a calendar year, including transient and temporary vendor within the city. is
where
what we
are you reading that from, sorry?
do. Page 3, 4 down,
I don't have
4
pages.
bullet points down.
Can you
Okay.
tell me what?
It's under 2-4-4 under luxury tax, it's the 4th bullet point down, where it says goods and services sold by any business that does not operate for more than 90 days within a calendar year, including transient and temporary vendor within the city limits of Red Lodge. See, it says luxury shall include, and it just says, so basically they're saying luxury shall, I mean, it's just in the wrong spot. It needs to be over here on 2-4-3. Instead of over saying that.
Yes, I would 100% agree with you.
Okay, so,
That is correct
Move
statement.
to
so that's the,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. So we'll move temporary vendor there. And then it doesn't matter, because the only thing they're exempt from then are what is exempt from the tax overall.
That's correct.
Okay,
So you were
That-
right, you were correct in that it was not worded correctly, but you're just off on how we needed to fix it.
okay.
But the important thing is here, you were wrong.
No, she was right, she was right, it was just that it was, yes, yeah.
Okay,
The
all right.
what needed to be changed is correct. We need
Okay.
to have, that piece should have been up in the top one, not in that one.
Okay, and then down below, and then, continuing on, under our pictures, picture frames, posters, prints, handcrafted cards, Danae would like us to add postcards to that as well,
Sure?
if you're good with that. And then under stickers, she would also like us to add magnets,
Great.
so. And then,
Add what?
magnets, people
Print,
buy,
maybe
Magnets.
printed magnets
I've
or
heard
something.
maintenance,
Novelty magnets,
yeah,
people buy magnets.
as
so-
opposed to magnets at the hardware store.
yeah.
Okay,
So novelty magnets or printed magnets,
I think novelty's better, because they
Yeah.
could be welded or something
Yeah.
else.
yes, yeah.
okay, okay. And then,
No life essential magnets.
no what?
I'm sorry, Charlie Brown's
No.
teacher, what did you have?
Yeah, no life essential magnets, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and then she was just also, confused about, and the reasoning why we did this, food and beverages intended for immediate human consumption, we had taken out including deli and bakery items, because she fights with people all the time that bakery items and deli meat, sliced deli meat has always been taxed. So,
Okay, so,
because they're saying if they buy 12 donuts, they're not gonna eat them all in one sitting, but they are made for immediate human consumption, bakery items, so she would like that to stay in there, basically, deli items and,
sure,
and bakery items.
Sure.
If you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
It just makes her life easier when
Yep,
someone comes
okay.
in and wants to fight about it.
okay,
Okay, and then under exempt from tax, she would like to add, educational materials. Typically, this is
Perfect,
coming up
fine.
with Yeltsin Wildlife Sanctuary sells educational.
education materials should.
Yes, okay, so we'll add that to that.
Is that gonna, well, is bookstores listed in everything sold at bookstores?
No,
No,
Because
but,
I'm just like thinking of Beartooth Books, if you go by,
Educational,
is
it's
it,
a book.
yeah,
yeah, books are already exempt.
they're already exempt, okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
well,
they're-
no,
they're
they're
not
not
listed.
exempt, they're not taxed.
They're not taxed, thank you,
Unless,
sorry.
yes, because that's,
Yeah, they're not,
Granted,
yeah, I mean, but if I sell a book at the pizza company, technically it's taxed.
yeah. But if you sell it at the bookstore, or I sell a book,
Mhm.
they don't have to be taxed.
Okay.
Because they're not listed as a taxable item.
Okay,
You know, and again, you buy a loaf of bread at the grocery store, you buy Thomas's English muffins at the grocery
It's
store,
sliced.
it's, yes. Yeah, so, there's always gonna be some pieces. Everything at the bakery is taxed.
Yes. Okay. Let's see, what else did you have? I think that was it for that. Under 2-4-7, records and tax forms, she would like to add an E, that at any time, the city may require a business to provide documentation of sales records to verify resort tax remitted, because it's different than an audit. Like, all of a sudden, their sales go
Right.
way down, and they're like, hey, we want to see your numbers. It's not a full-blown audit, so,
Fine with
okay.
me. So that one's well-written.
Okay, and then, let's see. Under 2-4-13, bonding and collection, for temporary vendors again, the city, makes them pay a $500 bond in cash.
Just for the record, we punted the whole bonding and collection thing to the mayor and the attorneys and said we didn't.
Okay,
We
so
said,
if we
we
change
said that
this
we don't
stuff-
care how that's done. Am I
Okay.
correct in remembering that?
Yes.
Okay,
We said that,
Okay.
that whole piece was, we said, we're not gonna argue on this, you guys have to,
okay,
the mayor has to deal with that, because that's, so
Do-
however
do-
you guys
do we-
decide you wanna deal with that is
Do we just take
fine.
it out of the ordinance and leave it to staff, or do we put it in the ordinance still?
it'd be in the ordinance, because it just would say, if the business is a temporary vendor, the bond must be paid in cash and held for the duration of, and the city will hold for the duration of the event, and then they give it back, as long as they pay it.
That's fine.
So just so it's in writing, because right now it's not. And then she wanted to add a G that, under that umbrella part, we were gonna put it in the business registration. But she would also, Danae would also like to have it say, if a business is hosting an event and wishes to umbrella their vendors, they are assuming full responsibility for the collection and remittance of the applicable taxes, required to maintain those records for 3 years.
So that's like you at 555, or the
Well,
farmer's
if-
market,
At
or...
55, it would only be if I have like an outdoor market and I'm actually bringing other people in, because all the vendor sales are already part of that. It's a little different. It's more like at the farmer's market, they collect, everybody collects the resort tax, but they pay the farmer's market, and then the farmer's market pays the city.
And if the art thing, does it work that way too?
Yes, at the Labor Day Arts Guild Fair, that's exactly the same way. And it makes Danae's life a lot easier, not having to deal with 100 businesses coming in and paying resort tax, so. Okay, let's
Did
see.
everybody agree, or?
I think that's, I'm.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
not, I think
okay.
that's an administrative piece, that's fine, doesn't matter to me. That's,
Okay. So, and then the only other thing that we talked about in admin and finance and with Danae is that they, really would like, I know we talked about it, but they would really like to be able to, if they have some really strict guidelines in place, to be able to waive the first offense fee, have the.
I don't wanna talk about that anymore.
yeah,
Okay,
talk about it.
that's, I
Okay.
think that's exactly correct. We said, we're not talking about that anymore, that's
Okay.
up to the mayor and the city attorney,
Okay.
and you guys.
Then look, okay.
Yeah, we have given all the input,
Okay.
thank you, Joy.
Okay, no, that's fine, I didn't wanna like
No.
bulldoze you guys and say, okay, so, no, that's fine.
I think it's fine to bring it and say, here's what we decided, and if
Yeah.
we disagree
Okay.
with it, that's fine, but, we talked about that way.
And then the only other thing that she had was under 2-4-14, where under E, she just wanted to add where it says failure to report or remit taxes may result in a violation audit of the offending business at the expense of the business in question. She wanted to add after that, and to be conducted by,
Same thing,
okay.
this has all been punted.
Okay,
We
perfect.
talked about it ad
Okay.
nauseum, and we punted it.
Then admin and finance will make those changes.
Yes.
So
and
we'll put it in, but they're signed off on it.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. I think that's all Danae had on that, guys, so I tried to make it quick, so. And,
Do you
and
have
admin
the
and
Word
finance.
documents, so those edits can be ready for packet?
Yes,
Okay.
I can do that. If I can read my writing, yes, I can do that.
I just realized you're gonna have to make some little notes that maybe we review the ordinance and approve
Okay.
changes suggested by, are you taking notes? No?
I'm kind of taking.
Okay, all right.
No, they're not gonna be
I'm
great.
not.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm like,
Okay,
The
thank
good
you.
news is we have a recording you can work from.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
yeah, if you can, actually, if you send the link,
It'll be online.
yeah, okay, then we can just use Copilot to do the link.
Okay.
Or do the meeting notes. Awesome.
Okay, that's all I had on the resort tax ordinance, so, unless anybody else had anything.
I went and, all right, we're gonna move on to the survey. I went and pulled the survey, basically, Joy had worked a little bit on the original survey that we did. And, I don't know if you guys can see that. If that's helpful. basically, it's the questions off the first survey, and then we're gonna come to some decision points, and I can redo these. And, but maybe just for conversation, how would you guys feel if we set our goal to have this survey delivered in either late after our October meeting or at the very latest after our November meeting?
My only opposition to after November is that people.
Too busy.
Too
So,
busy.
so October.
Yeah, if not,
Okay.
we should wait till after the first.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna shoot for October. If we don't get there, then we'll do it after Christmas.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna go through this and how it would actually look. So Red Lodge spending limits, Carbon County, State of Montana, or other. Do you believe the resort tax has a positive impact on the community, yes or no? And I'll send this out to you guys so you can see it and play with it. I might have to upgrade my version of it to, do that, so then, do you own property as a question within the city limits near Red Lodge or no?
You want that to say real property or anything that,
We could adjust that.
Property.
How, what, yeah, Chair, what kind of property, Jeremy?
I would just say property is fine. No one's
Okay.
gonna say, well, I got a car parked there. Come on.
Yeah. All right, so this is a question from the first one, and it says, how likely you vote yes on renewing the resort tax today? Not really appropriate maybe anymore,
No.
so I think we could probably get rid of that. There is kind of, and then the next one,
we
I
just
think,
get rid of it today.
yeah, so then we ask if you're a business owner, and so here's a good question that, and we'll come back to the how likely, maybe we need something, how do you feel about the resort tax? Maybe I'll change that to like, you know, do you think the resort tax has a positive impact on the community? And then give it like 3 or 4 chances. How about something like that?
Okay.
Yep.
Do you feel appropriations are taxed? Kind of an open-ended question, but I think trying to ask anything more detailed would be a rabbit hole.
That says 10 years versus our ordinance says 5.
Oh, yeah.
And given that that was to change it so we can maintain, does that question still belong in there now?
That's exactly correct. So should the resort tax be limited to capital? Now, maybe there's a question here, and I'll go to the next one. Maybe we should ask a question that's kind of about capital improvements versus operational, and maybe how much, maybe there's a question on a sliding scale that says, if you had to dedicate some resort tax to capital and some resort tax to operational, how would you divide it up, right? Like, or, you know, like, or where do you think the priority should be, operational, capital, a mix, some question like that?
Because to me, if I were writing the question.
I'm gonna have to write a note down, I won't remember.
If I were writing the question, I would write something to the effect, and keep in mind, different objectives and there, but I would have a question, are you
Use a
okay
pen.
using, let's see if I do, if not, I can get you one. I will get you one.
Here, never mind.
I would ask a question about, our operational, or is it allowed to be used for operational expenses to avoid raising property taxes or raising additional taxes? Because that to me is and I know I'm the odd man out here, but that to me is, if you're talking about operational expenses, the real question is, we spend that money here rather than raising taxes.
Well, I feel like if you start putting language like that in, it will prevent us, like, again, if you want to educate people on mills and why we might need mills, I mean, it just kind of, I think it's contradictory to what some of those goals might be.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. I agree.
We might wanna
I do-
check the ballot language about the definition of capital.
Yeah.
Because it said 10 years here, and the ordinance ended up with 5 years, it could be that kind of becomes a game changer. Now vehicles start to become not such a.
Okay, mine's 20 years old.
Yeah, well, okay, good point, all right, I'll take that, I'll take it.
I'm not getting
Well,
another one because I don't want
I,
car payment.
above everything else, what holds is what the voters, the
Yeah,
hierarchy is what the voters pass, and
we-
nobody gets to change that
We
except the voters.
we should, that's what I'm saying, we should
Yes,
look
I
back
think
at the vote and just see what it said. Okay. All right, so then, this is the complex one, and I really wanna just talk about this list for a second, and then I'll tell you what my idea is. So this is the list. Some of this was done a little bit by AI based on our list. I think kind of what I would like to do, this is a prioritizing list. And I was thinking about, like, if we go to our, I'm gonna go back to here for a second in the Google Drive. If we go to our resort tax expenditure thing, we've got this kind of list right here. Having just that list as a rank prioritized, because the list I'm going to show you in a second, I think has way too many items in them
I
for
would
people
agree,
to prioritize,
Good.
where this could be prioritized for people. And that's not going to give us absolutes, but it will at least tell us what people think their priorities are.
Okay.
And then this list here, and this is how we did it the last time, basically saying, how appropriate do you think the following items are for the use of resort tax? And it's very appropriate or not appropriate at all kind of question. And then, you know, like on a scale of 1 to 5, I think we actually did 1 to 10 the last time, but that seems like a lot to me. So, like, you know, basically, do you think it should be spent on city services? Yes or no, except it's a ranking of 1 to 5, so it's not just yes or no. It can be like, yeah, I think we should be spending a lot of money on this, or we should be spending a little bit of it, or no money at all kind of thing. And then have this list here. So with that in mind, and I'll just put this together and then we can review it again. But just thinking, is there anything else, is there anything on this list you don't think should be there, or do you think there's something that should be there that's not?
Well, two things. I do agree with ranking. The only concern I have from going from like 10 to 5 is only if we want to draw a comparison versus the last survey.
Okay,
So if we don't care about comparing it to the last survey, then it can be 1 to 5. But if we want to draw true comparisons and say, okay, it's moved up 2 points, then
okay,
we
yep,
won't be able to do that. if
yep,
you change
okay.
And I would offer from survey science, don't go with an odd number, you go with an even number, so they either have to be above it or below it, otherwise
I
you
think,
get crazy.
I think last time we did 0 to 10, so it ends up being or something like that.
So yeah, I'm fine with it being 5, just as long as we don't expect to make a true comparison.
Yep, okay. All right, so then, city services such as resort tax enforcement, clerks, city hall, and courts?
Do we want to,
I
We
don't-
might,
This
we,
list does feel really long again, and then we start to, I don't like, again, removing things from like police out of city services because it's the city's requirement to provide police.
well,
Yeah.
same with fire.
Yeah.
We still have a requirement to do
Yeah.
fire.
So I mean, I don't know how we want to bucket those, I guess, is what I was.
yeah,
I mean, we have a responsibility to provide police and, well, actually, we
I-
don't have a
I-
responsibility to police.
you do not have a responsibility to provide police protection, you do have to provide fire protection.
Actually, we have a responsibility to do both. They're
We do?
both statutorily required.
No, they're not. You,
They are.
well, yes, you can do it through
I
the
can do
sheriff's
the
department.
Yeah, but it's just like fire, I can do through
Yeah,
another
okay.
agency.
You know what, let's just look at the questions and don't worry about if it's too much yet.
Okay,
And then what we can do is, once we get it put in the survey and we can take it, then we can be like, oh, wait, too many questions, or, no, I stayed with this. Because this survey, this program allows you to go through the questions really fast. So sometimes you can ask a lot of questions, it doesn't feel overwhelming. So, I mean, but there are some things on here that maybe we've eliminated that we
Like-
just,
The pool should probably go out because we have to pay the loan on that, so.
but so I thought about that, but it also, we are paying operational expenses on the pool.
Oh, okay.
but it is
so-
a city park though, too.
So
It
would
is a
be-
dedicated park.
So would it be included with the park?
Park
thing?
improvements and
Yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah,
It's a big expenditure,
It is.
okay.
so,
It's, I mean, I'm fine with it being in
yeah,
there.
okay.
It's not like we're gonna quit using the pool.
I was thinking about stormwater improvements the same way, that 1%'s already
Yeah.
going to stormwater.
Right.
Okay, that
So do
makes sense.
we eliminate that?
Yeah.
Maybe let's look and see if there's something you
So-
think. Go ahead.
I've got just a quick idea I want to throw out there. So I kind of like having the categories be what we're already collecting metrics on, like what you've got on your spreadsheet, Tom. I like that a lot.
Yep.
I feel like that would be a good apples to apples useful metric for us in the survey itself. What do you think of having it split out? So basically that's everything that we historically have paid for through resort tax. What if we say, okay, of the things we're paying for through resort tax, rate them how you think of importance or whatever. And then have a second question where we list all of the items that are currently possibly disallowed or are new projects that, haven't been paid for in the past. Basically anything
okay.
new or anything that would require a ballot change, perhaps, things that are outside of what has already been defined in the past. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's good. And things like, for example, parks is already on that list, so don't list it on this other thing, right? So,
Correct.
so,
Right.
Give them the opportunity to take something away and say, why didn't you get rid of that?
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I like that, Jeremy, a lot.
And really, if you wanted to do even a follow-up after that, you could say, of the past expenses, are there any you would want to see eliminated? Just to
Yeah.
gather that other end of the extreme. I don't know.
Yeah, and I had this question, wait, this was me trying to mess with things that didn't work. I had one here somewhere that was, if you could use the resort tax to fund one thing, what would it be?
That's
And
a good
that's
fun
just to get
open-ended one.
ideas
I like it.
Public. We had this question last time, and that's where we got tons of pool.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah,
I think it's
that's a good one. You could make a word cloud of it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I will continue to work, and this is a good survey thing, and, I might just need to talk to you, Mr. Mayor, about, I don't really have a hard time to buy the subscription, but I think it's like, to buy the one that we'll need is like $100 a month, and you only need it for the time that you're doing the survey. But what I found when we used this survey thing for the ambulance district, and I realized I had to buy it right at the beginning, because what happens is I started sending it out to the committee, and you get like 10, you can take the survey 10 times, but all you have to do is have one committee member who takes it 4 times in a row, and then you run out of your 10 times pretty quickly.
With the subscription and stuff, that then I think affects our time.
It does kind of narrows it down. It just makes you want to do it more quickly, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and what I could do is I could work on this, buy the subscription before the next meeting, and then that can build our timeline. I like October. I think we can do this.
I think we can too. And if you need any, I'm happy to help
Yeah.
however, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll share this with you in
Okay.
this computer program, so then
Okay.
you can play with it. I
Yep.
think we can share it.
Okay,
All right. I have another meeting I have to go to, so I'm gonna try to keep us on time today.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else?
I won't be at the next meeting, I'm out of town, but like I said, I'm available via email, so I can help with this.
Okay. Jeremy, do you have anything else?
No, maybe just a quick comment on using resort tax to offset general fund. I think framing it that way is not a great idea, and we already have tax relief as a category, which is effectively what that is. So that would just be the direction I would lean.
Any public comment?
No, we can stay on time.
Yeah, all right.
Brad, you came, was there specific, something you had in mind when you came, or just? we're bored and didn't have a meeting tonight. We felt on that, so.
End up on the
Thank you.
Sounds good, Mike?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Did you say the magic words?